Hi, I'm Tyson.
And I'm Callie.
And we're with Aviation Adventures. Now, we've been doing these videos for about 2 years, and over the past couple of years, we continually get asked the same questions over and over. It's not a big deal, that's why we're here. However, we thought we would try to compile the most popular questions into one video. So we right now have about 16 questions, and then at the end, Callie has come up with a question for me, and I've come up with a question for her. We haven't told each other what these questions are. With that said, Callie has been in this business just as long as I have. We met my first year spraying, and the rest has been history. So not only does she know the answers to all these questions, but she's heard them dozens and dozens and dozens of times before. So she's gonna help me answer these. Again, hers are a lot more concise. I'll ramble on for minutes and minutes. First question. How did I learn or get into crop dusting? How did I find out about it?
So you were working on a ramp in college and someone rolled up in a Fireboss, big 802 air tractor, badass airplane. Tyson was like, I want to fly that. So we started talking to the pilot because if he needs to know the answers to something, he finds them out. Started talking to the pilot said, well, the best way to get into flying is to become a crop duster. So then Tyson set his sights on that, and again, when Tyson has a goal in mind, he does not stop until he hits that goal. Once he became an ag pilot, he fell in love with it, and this has worked out so well for us in the lifestyle, and I don't think he's ever looked back, and I think that maybe the fire pilot thing is possibly something that he would do down the road, but for right now, we're sticking with this.
I like where this is going. I would have been rambling for at least another 2 or 3 minutes on that one. All right, what licenses are needed? So in order to fly the airplane, you're gonna need your private pilot's license, and then to get paid to do it, so if you wanna be crop dusting and get paid, then you also need your commercial license. Now, you could go with a limited commercial. I'm not gonna dive into that. If you're interested, Google limited commercial, but there are different ways to go about getting your private and your commercial. I would recommend getting an instrument as well, but I could ramble on about this for a long time, so that's just where I'm gonna leave it. You need your private as well as your commercial. Now, you do also need some licenses to apply pesticides. These are written tests. I did a video on YouTube about what licenses are needed for that. Pretty simple stuff, anyone can take those.
Yep, and it's kind of different state to state, so be sure to check that out, give you all the details on that.
Yep.
The next question is, what is the best thing to do to get into this business, or what would be your #1 top piece of advice to start down the path of becoming an ag pilot?
All right, so for me, I was living in Colorado trying to get into this industry, and I was in downtown Denver. There's not crop dusting going on in downtown Denver. So for me, the biggest piece of advice is to get out there and go to where this is taking place. Find operators out there, knock on their doors, go and talk to them, go to the conventions. There's a national convention, there are state conventions, you can Google that stuff, find out about it, but you need to put yourself out there. And at that point, I would spend a season or 2 with an operator loading, and I would make sure that this is what you want to do, because it's one thing to see it on YouTube or see airplanes flying and think about how much fun it would be, but it's another thing to actually be in the business and doing it. So I wouldn't spend any money. I'd be a loader. Make sure that it's what you want to do.
Yeah, lifestyle wise for sure.
Yeah. All right. How many gallons can the Air Tractor 502, which is what I'm flying, how many gallons can it hold?
That would be 500 gallons, and there are different models of air tractors. There's 400 gallon airplanes, 500 gallon is the most common. There are 602s, which is 600 gallons, and then 802s as well, which is 800 gallons.
A little bit of tidbit of information here. We did a factory tour. We have a video on YouTube about it, but they have a 1,000-gallon airplane.
The 1002.
The 1002. They've had one that flew, and anyways, it didn't work out. They redesigned all of it, and it's supposed to be going into production at some point. So
coming.
That's going to be pretty awesome.
Yep.
All right. Have I ever crashed or had any close calls? Knock on wood. I don't love talking about it because I feel like when you talk about it, something's going to happen. But I've never crashed. I've had close calls, meaning there's been a wire that I was not expecting coming out of a tree row or something, and I saw it at the very last second, and my heart skipped a beat, and you pull up as hard as you can, and you think, did I hit it? Did my wheels hit it? what just happened, I don't know. Those are the closest calls. Luckily, knock on wood, those are the closest calls that I've had. Hopefully that's just kind of how it continues. All right, Callie, this one's for you. What speed and height do I fly at?
Yep, so in the Air Tractor 502, you're flying at about 150 miles per hour across the field, and you're 5 to 10 feet off of the crop canopy.
That's right. All right.
I feel like now this is a quiz.
Yeah, like that.
All right, next question. Do you recommend going to an ag school? Short and condensed answer, because we already have a video on this.
There's a long video where you can listen to me ramble for a while on YouTube about ag aviation. Okay, so at the end of this video, I think my answer was that I don't necessarily recommend it because I think there are other ways to go about it. However, some people chimed in and said, hey, for insurance, it can really help to have an ag aviation school that's been completed. So for that aspect, I would definitely recommend it if it's going to help with insurance or helping you get your first job. But I would find that I wouldn't just go to an ag aviation school to be like, I'm going to get into this business, but first I'm going to go to this school and learn all this, and then I'll just get a job.
That would be like a few steps down the road after you've worked for someone on the ground and really committed, know that this is what you want to do, and then maybe invest your money into that school because it is expensive and it's an investment.
I would say if you're working for someone and they say, hey, I have an airplane that I'm going to put you in, but I want you to go to ag aviation school first, by all means do it.
Yeah.
Don't just do it though to
do it. Yeah, for sure.
All right, why is the plane yellow?
So this is a really popular question that we get, and it makes sense. We went to Air Tractor, the factory again, and we asked the guys there.
I thought it was going to be some this really scientific, and no. Hey guys, why are they all yellow? We get asked all the time.
Safety, main issue. And it totally makes sense because, especially with how low you guys are flying, having that bright color, key.
All it was safety, which I kind of thought. But I was like, no, there's got to be a different reason. There's not.
Are ag pilots in demand right now?
Definitely. This is kind of a deeper question. There are definitely a very big demand for ag pilots. This year especially, I saw a ton of posts on Facebook that people were looking for pilots. They actually had planes sitting because they couldn't find pilots to put into those airplanes. I get texts all the time from people looking for pilots. The deeper dive into this question is good pilots. There are plenty of half-ass pilots out there that don't want to put in the work. They don't want to work from sunup to sundown.
They want to complain about not having work, but when the work hits, they don't want to work. So
that is so true.
Good ag pilots, normal people with a good attitude and will to work, I think that's for sure in demand.
Definitely. I would agree 100% with that. All right, now you guys may be looking at us thinking, man, y'all are dressed to the nines. I like your style. This fly it on, this amazing hat, the t-shirt. Where can I get some of this merchandise?
Yeah, and I promise we didn't just throw this question in as a plug. Like, it really is a question that we get a lot
of people asking.
But we are opening up an online store soon, hopefully by October. I don't know when this video is going to go live, but we're going to have an online store soon, and if it continues to do well, we will keep adding products to that. But this fly it on design is a new one that we came up with, and then of course our logo and hats. So stay tuned. We're hopefully going to have an online store.
Right now it's pretty comical. We literally are making the hats. We do have someone make, but we're making the shirts. Callie, when I say we, is doing all this. So she has a cutter that cuts out the logos, and then she has a press and presses them on shirts. So when someone wants a shirt, we're like, sure, what size do you need? And we literally go and make it.
It's not worth our time.
It is not worth our time.
And we're not in the business of shipping t-shirts.
So we'll have an online store. We'll let you all know about that.
Yep, for sure. Another question we get asked a lot on YouTube especially is someone commenting, hey, I'm 50 years old or I'm 60 years old. This is something I want to do. Am I too old to do it?
That is a common one. So
we're actually going to have like an in-depth video on this, but shortened down answer.
Short version. I mean, it's gonna take a lot of commitment. So that doesn't matter how old you are. You're gonna put a lot of time and money into this business. You're gonna have to get your pilot's licenses, which is gonna be expensive, and then you're going to have to put your time in on the ground. Even if you're someone that's, hey, I have 10,000 hours with the airlines, I already have all my licenses, you're still going to have to put your time in on the ground. So you're going to have to go and load for a season, maybe two, and work your way into an airplane seat. So right there, that's costly because Working on the ground, if you're coming from airlines or maybe you're a freaking doctor, I don't know, but maybe you're making a ton of money and you go to a ground position where you're making $18 or $20 an hour, you may possibly be taking a large pay cut. So it's going to take commitment as far as pay goes, and then the time to get into it. Now, let's say you're 55. You may be 58 before you're like really flying an airplane. And then when you are flying that airplane, you're not going to just be in a turbine right away. Maybe you only spray 15,000 acres your first season, and you're not going to make a ton of money. So that again falls back to now you're a few years into this and you haven't been making a lot of money for those few years. So for me personally, if I was that age, I wouldn't want to jump into it. However, some people are, I don't want to burst your bubble. I mean, some people, they're driven. This is what they want to do, and they're not going to let me or anyone stop them. By all means, don't let me stop you. It's just going to take a little bit of commitment to get into it. It's going to take a little bit of time.
And also, I would mention, like, if you're not in an agricultural area, or if there's not a position in your, if you are and there's not a position in that area, you're going to have to go to where that position may be. So is your wife or your family, are they willing to relocate? Are they willing to just let you go off on your own for the summer? So there's kind of a lot to tie into that as well with the location.
And as far as age goes, there are some people that are 60, and I would never guess they're 60. We ride dirt bikes with people that are late 50s and 60s, and they're freaking fast. If you're that type of person, you could probably get in this and it wouldn't be an issue. However, I also know people who are 60 that are probably going to be dead in a few years.
Or have medical issues. Or people who have medical issues.
Or people that have medical issues.
That will come with age. Even if you're healthy, you can still have these medical issues that will prevent you from flying.
So it's kind of, I guess, a little bit deeper question, because when someone asks me, I definitely don't know their history and their background. But it's doable. It's going to take some time, though.
For sure. How are you paid? This is another big one. How much money do we make? How are you paid? But like, let's talk about how a pilot gets paid. This is for people out there, especially if Tyson's sitting on the ground, he's not making money. So that's why for us, it's important to be here all the time, because if we can fly 400 acres, that's a big deal for us. So
that's money in our pocket. It all adds up at the end of the year. I'm paid by the acre though. So there's a video about pilot pay, but it's all based on per acre charge for me. Some people do a gross. So let's just say at the end of the year, the airplane as a whole sprayed 100,000 acres. Maybe sometimes you were making, or not making, but you were spraying and you were charging $7 an acre to spray over here, and you were charging $10 an acre over there. But at the end of the year, you grossed 100. Some people will just get a cut of that. Other people, myself, they're just a flat acre pay. That can kind of vary, but unless I'm spraying, I'm not making money. Another video that we do have published is about drones. Are they going to replace me soon? So
this is less of a question and more of a comment that we get telling us that drones are going to replace this business.
A lot of people say that.
But the thing for us that we think about is that the technology is out there, but I think it's a long ways off from coming in and replacing this completely, especially doing it efficiently and being able to spray the amount of acres that the planes in the United States cover is just, it's a huge amount of acres. And so being able to do that with a drone and their crew, I think it's going to be a long time until that's something that's really replaced crop dusting. It is out there, people are doing it in small portions, but I think it's going to be a little while.
Yeah, and we actually talked to a person over at the military air base that's near us here, and he flies drones. I was honestly really surprised at what the military is doing with drones. It's pretty mind-boggling, and there is no reason whatsoever why this airplane right here could not go and spray this field without anyone in the cockpit. That's completely capable. However, it would cost a ton of money, and there would probably be someone, FAA, to have something to say about that. So right now, I'm not too concerned about it. In 20 years, maybe in 5 years, I don't know. It's leaps and bounds. It seems like every year.
We're not losing sleep over it.
I'm definitely not losing sleep. And if you're looking to get into this industry, I don't think that a drone is going to take over your job anytime soon.
Okay, the next question. Where is a good place to go to look for a job? Now, this is kind of a funny question for Tyson, because when he was getting into this, like, Facebook was not a thing. The internet was kind of a thing, but you were making cold calls. He was sitting there calling people, trying to get into this, and now it's so different. I feel like it's almost easier, and people now have a bit of an advantage with the online situation.
Yeah, I mean, when I got into it, I was that was what, like 16, 15 years ago. I was making calls, trying to figure out how to get into the industry. I hadn't gone to an ag school or anything yet, but I was just trying to figure it out. Then I went to ag school, then I was trying to get my job. That was like 13 years ago.
Yeah.
Facebook was around. Crop dusters were not on Facebook. I think MySpace may have been around at the same time. I don't know. But at this point, there is a Facebook group called Rookie, I Want to Be an Ag Pilot. And it has amazing information out there. Very, very good stuff. Great networking. But it gives you steps, or people will give you steps on how to get into it. George Parker is the one who runs it. And I was just on there yesterday, and he's literally like every day posting. He wants people to get into this industry.
And he also tells it how it is. Like, he's not trying to hide anything.
He's not sugarcoating it.
He's not.
We're making it look like it's amazing. Not George. It is. I mean, it's amazing, but it is hard freaking work.
And it sucks not have, like, we don't have a summer. We don't take time off. This is a whole nother topic, but on that Rookie, I Want to Be an Ag Pilot page, it's not sugar-coated. There's tons of good information.
It'll open your eyes to it. But I think that's a great place to go and look at and try to figure out what's going on and maybe steps to get into it for yourself. Sure. But like I said before, just going and immersing yourself in an area where farming and aerial application is taking place, that's going to be the most important part. Yeah. Just putting yourself out there and introducing yourself to people.
All right, it's getting hot. We're wrapping this up. So now I have a question for Tyson. He has a question for me. We don't know what these questions are, so
all right,
let's go.
Go ahead.
Okay, if you could go any place in the world right now, money was no object, where would it be?
Oh, I don't know. I think it would be, so we're really big into motorcycles. We enjoy riding motos in our off season. I would love to do an Asia trip on mopeds, because that's what they have over there. But
really?
I think a Vietnam type Thailand trip or kiteboarding in Greece, I think would be a lot of fun.
Oh man, I thought okay, we're not on the same page. That's fine.
This is getting real right now. What did you think?
Well, I think if we're doing motorcycles, I think figuring out a way to ride motorcycles in Africa.
If we're just talking Africa. Okay, so we're on the same page.
Asia's full of people.
No, you're right. Asia's full of people, but you hate people?
No, sorry. I don't like populated areas.
No, we're on the same page there. We live out in the country. We don't. Okay, so
sort of on the same page.
Sort of. I'd go to Africa. I'd go anywhere, but Greece kiteboarding would be fun, and I think Asia on mopeds would be fun.
Yeah, okay. I'm not knocking it.
All right, so my question for you, what is one thing that you don't like about this industry?
Oh, yours is like industry related. Okay, would have been a good idea. I think that I think the one thing that I don't like about this industry is just wondering if today or tomorrow or the next day, if that's going to be the day that you crash potentially. I think that's the hardest thing for me, is like, this is a dangerous occupation, and I have so much, I have a lot of faith in the way Tyson flies and how he goes about his job, but I do think that realistically anything can happen. And so I think that's the hardest part, is just, luckily for me, I can stay busy on the ground. I have a lot going on, so I'm not thinking about it 24/7, but I think that's the hardest part, is just wondering if maybe one day is going to be the day that he could potentially crash. So.
Yeah, well, that's kind of a really dreary note to end on.
Sorry.
But Callie, in all honesty, Callie has a great point. I mean, we personally know people that have died in this industry that are the furthest ones that I would think would ever get into any kind of even an accident. And
it hits hard when that happens.
Yeah, and it's cost them their life. And so there is that side of the whole industry. But
sorry, not to end on such a
I thought maybe she was going to say the thing she doesn't like the most is me. So I'm glad that she didn't say that. She actually said losing me would be the worst. So anyways, guys.
Sorry
on that. Sorry, we brought you down.
We went high.
We need to bring you back up here.
Okay, we're going back
Other than that, it's an awesome industry. No, if you guys have any more questions, we're always here to answer them. We want to get people excited about farming, about flying. That's what we're about. So
on a high note, the best thing that's happened to us in this industry is getting to know farmers and being able to share our story and share about agriculture, because it's a huge part of humans, I guess. Being human, farming is a huge part of it. You got to eat, and being able to share these stories and just more about it with people who are maybe more disconnected. So that's been awesome.
So that turned out to be 15 questions, R2. This is going to be like a 40-minute video.
All right.
Hey, we hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. As always, fly low, fly fast. I'm Tyson.
And I'm Callie.
And we're with Ag Aviation Adventures.
See you guys next time.